Well, hello there, sweetie. It's Grandma Suzie, and I have something on my heart I want to share with you today. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, Grandma, you've lived through so much. What more could you possibly know about money that you haven't already told us? Well, my dear, let me tell you that learning about money isn't something that happens overnight. And no matter how many years we live, we're always learning. When I was younger, money wasn't something I thought too much about. It came, it went, and I just hoped it would last until the end of the month. But as I got older, I began to realize that money wasn't just a tool to get by. It was a way to build the life I wanted. With my husband Tom by my side, we made our share of mistakes and learned a lot about what works and what doesn't. Now that I'm a bit older and wiser, I'm happy to share the smartest money tips I've learned over the years. These aren't just about making more money. They're about making your money work for you. They're about living well without being stressed about bills or future uncertainty. They're about finding peace with your finances, no matter what your current situation looks like. So grab a cup of tea and sit down with me, dear. Let me tell you the money lessons that changed my life, and can change yours too. Chapter 1. The importance of living below your means. Let's start with one of the most important lessons I learned in my life. This one was tough for me, but it has made all the difference. When Tom and I first got married, we didn't have much, but we didn't need much either. We had a little apartment, a small car, and the love of each other to keep us going. I remember feeling proud of what we had, but over time we began to feel the pressure to keep up with others. Tom and I started to notice that everyone around us seemed to have more, nicer cars, bigger houses, newer gadgets, and without even realizing it, we started to want the same. It wasn't that we were unhappy with what we had, but there was this subtle pressure to spend just to feel like we fit in. It was easy to convince ourselves that we needed that new couch, that shiny appliance, or those designer shoes. But one day, Tom and I sat down and had a conversation about money. That was the moment I learned one of the smartest money tips I could ever give. Live below your means. That doesn't mean living miserably or never enjoying anything. It simply means spending less than you make and prioritizing what truly matters. Instead of trying to impress people with our possessions, we began to focus on the things that would give us long-term security and happiness. That meant saving, investing, and being more mindful about where our money went. It wasn't always easy to resist the temptation of those shiny new things, but over time, living below our means became second nature. And let me tell you, the peace it brought us was priceless. Chapter 2. The power of saving for the future. Now, I know it can be tempting to live for the present, especially when there are so many things to enjoy. But, my dear, life is full of uncertainties, and having a cushion to fall back on can make all the difference. When Tom and I started saving for the future, we didn't make a lot of money, but we committed to putting aside a small portion of our income each month. It wasn't much at first, just a little here and there, but as time went on, that little bit added up. We opened a savings account, and we set goals for what we wanted to achieve: buying a house, paying off debt, and having money saved for retirement. Each time we reached a goal, it felt like we were winning. We celebrated those small victories, and over the years they built up to something much larger. One thing I want you to remember, sweet one, is this. It's not about how much you earn. It's about how much you save. It's so easy to think that you need a big salary to save money, but that's simply not true. If you can set aside even a small amount consistently, it will grow over time. The earlier you start, the more time your money has to compound and grow. You don't have to wait for a big paycheck. Just start where you are and keep going. Trust me, the habit of saving is more important than the amount you save. Chapter 3. The importance of budgeting. Know where your money goes. Budgeting might sound like a boring word, but let me tell you, it's one of the smartest things you can do when it comes to money. When Tom and I first started budgeting, we had no idea where our money was going. We'd spend, and then wonder why we were always short at the end of the month. That all changed when we sat down and wrote out a budget. We tracked every dollar we spent and started to see patterns in our spending. We learned that, while we didn't spend wildly, there were small things adding up, like our daily trips to the coffee shop or that weekly dinner out. Those little expenses weren't bad in themselves, but over time they took a bite out of our savings. Creating a budget gave us control over our money. We could see how much we were spending on necessities, how much we could afford to save, and how much we had left to spend on the things we enjoyed. We learned to prioritize our spending and cut out things that weren't adding value to our lives. So, my dear, the smartest tip I can give you here is this. Track your spending and create a budget that works for you. Knowing where your money goes gives you the power to make informed decisions and take control of your financial future. Chapter 4. Don't rely on credit. Use debt wisely. I remember not too long after we bought our first home, we started using credit cards more than we should. At first it seemed harmless. We'd buy a few things here and there and pay it off later. But over time those small balances added up and we found ourselves in a bit of a bind. The interest rates were high and we were paying more than we needed to. It was a wake-up call, and we realized that we needed to make a change. We learned that credit is a tool, not a crutch. Used wisely, it can be helpful, but relying on it can get you into trouble. We made a commitment to pay off our credit cards each month and only use them when necessary. We also started to focus on paying down any existing debt as quickly as possible. The smartest money tip I can give you on this is this. Avoid unnecessary debt. Don't fall into the trap of thinking you can buy now, pay later without consequences. The less debt you have, the more freedom you'll have in your life. Chapter 5. Invest in yourself. Education is the best investment. One thing that has always been true is that education is the most powerful tool you can have. When Tom and I started thinking about the future, we realized that the more we knew, the more we could accomplish. We started investing and learning about money, reading books, attending workshops, and asking people who were more knowledgeable about finances than we were. We didn't just want to learn how to manage money. We wanted to learn how to make our money grow. We began to invest in things like stocks, bonds, and even in starting a small side business. It wasn't easy at first, and we made mistakes along the way, but each step taught us something valuable. So, my dear, here's a tip that has paid off for us many times over. Invest in your education. Whether it's learning about money management, taking a course, or even just reading about different investment strategies, the more you know, the better prepared you'll be to make smart financial decisions. Chapter 6. Give Back: The Joy of Sharing. Tom and I were always taught that giving was just as important as saving. It's easy to get caught up in the mindset that you need to accumulate wealth for yourself, but there's so much joy in sharing with others. Whether it's helping a friend in need, donating to charity, or supporting a cause you care about, giving back has a way of enriching your life in ways money never can. I can't tell you how many times I've seen the happiness that comes from giving. When you open your heart to others, the rewards are far greater than anything you can buy. It's a smart financial tip too, because when you give, you often find that the more you give, the more abundance seems to flow into your life. Conclusion: peace of mind through smart choices. So my sweet one, I hope you've learned a thing or two from our story. These money tips didn't come easily to us, but they've given us peace of mind and a life that's far richer than we ever could have imagined. The smartest money decisions are the ones that bring you peace and security, not stress and worry. And remember, wealth isn't just about how much money you have. It's about how you manage it, how you live, and the joy you find in life's simple pleasures. With all my love, Grandma Suzie. Thank you, my dears, for spending this time with me. Remember, life's journey is better when we walk it together. If these stories and reflections warmed your heart, be sure to subscribe and join me for more wisdom, comfort, and a little sprinkle of joy. Together, let's keep growing one story at a time. Until next time, stay safe, stay hopeful, and remember, you're never alone. Grandma loves you.